Number 5. The Shining. Oh gosh, you guys are gonna hate me for this one. Don't get me wrong, the original is an incredibly creepy film, and it has some of the scariest moments I've ever seen in a horror film. But the remake is in a whole new ballpark entirely. The original movie was made in 1980 by Stanley Kubrick, and it's a very dark and atmospheric film. And Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance does a really good job at making you scared of him. Seriously, would you want to be alone in a room with this character? I don't think so. But the remake feels more like The Shining than the original does. Probably because Stephen King actually has a lot to do with this one. The remake was a miniseries that Stephen King decided to work on, and it is a slow burn of a movie, but darn, it's worth it. Steven Weber does a fantastic job playing Jack Torrance, and he's one of the most sympathetic characters that I've seen in a long time. In the original, Jack Nicholson was always scary. From the very beginning, you didn't even feel bad for this guy, you just wanted to get away from him. But in the remake, Steven Weber, you just felt bad for him. He was a recovering alcoholic who was doing everything he can to keep his family safe, only to end up going insane because the house drove him to do what he did. And it's just so sad.
Here's Johnny!
Care to take a swing or two?
I'm afraid it's your job, and yours alone, sir.
Watch this.
And yeah, the ending to the original is very haunting and creepy, but the ending to the remake just feels so much more satisfying. It's a bittersweet ending, and that's what I really like about it. Go check out this remake, guys, and the original too. I love them both. Number 4. The Woman in Black. Gosh, I love this remake so much. The original came out in 1989 and it was directed by Herbert Weiss. And this entire film had a very eerie atmosphere to it. This is one of the best ghost films that I've seen in a long time, and I decided to watch the original recently because I didn't know the one with Daniel Radcliffe was a remake. I decided to give the original a watch, and man, I love this film. This is one of the best ghost films that I've seen in a long time. Adrian Rollins plays Arthur Kidd in the original, and he does a very good job at selling his performance. You can tell that in every scene that he's in, this guy seems genuinely scared and he doesn't want to be in this house. You can just tell. Along with Daniel Radcliffe as well. Daniel Radcliffe plays it perfectly as Arthur Kidd, and he seems genuinely scared to be in this house as well. And the fact that both houses look pretty much identical to each other makes this remake all the more faithful. Fun fact, the horror company Hammer decided to make a comeback, and this was their first film coming back, making The Woman in Black. And all I could say is, wow, what a way to make a comeback. There's one scare in each film that always freaked me out. The scare from the very original one, I'm not gonna spoil that. You people have to watch it for yourself. It's the only jump scare in the film, but it got me good. Along with the remake, there's one scare in this that scared me so bad that I actually jumped out of my seat when I first saw it. And it's the rocking chair jump scare. Daniel Radcliffe hears this rocking noise coming from the children's bedroom. He decides to go investigate and he sees this. Oh, I hate that so much, but I love it at the same time. It's so cool. Please go watch both of these films, guys. You guys will absolutely adore these films. Number 3. The Mummy. Okay guys, now hear me out. The original film, made back in 1932, directed by Carl Freund, I hope I pronounced that right, was a very creepy film. I love the original so much. And the Mummy himself, played fantastically by Boris Karloff, was creepy as heck. This guy scared me so bad as a kid. Like, for me, the Mummy is one of the scariest Universal monsters I've seen. What scares me most about the Mummy is that no matter how far you run, he'll always eventually catch up to you. And the last thing you will ever see is him staring you down as he chokes you to death. That's horrifying. Now tell me, what would happen if you took the original Mummy and combine it with Indiana Jones?
There's a big snake in the plane!
Well, you get the Mummy from 1999. Gosh, I love this series so much. It is so much fun. I don't know why, but taking a scary concept like that and combining it with some action fun stuff works so well somehow. I absolutely love Brendan Fraser as the main character, Richard. He's just so fun to watch. And Lord Imhotep, played by Arnold Vosloo, is definitely a very cool reincarnation of the Mummy. He definitely knows a lot more than the original. The original was just, I'm going to kill you. In this one, he's calculated and he's evil. He knows exactly what he wants, and he's gonna stop at nothing to get it. So I highly recommend both these films, guys. Like, both of them were so influential and fun. Number 2. Nosferatu. Believe it or not, before this review, I've never actually seen Nosferatu before. I decided to give both the remake and the original a quick watch because I'm like, people are saying this is some of the scariest movies of all time. I wonder what it's like. I'm a horror fan. I decided to get cozy one night and watch both of them in a row. And I'm so glad I did. Because holy heck, the original film back in 1922, directed by F.W. Murnau, is possibly one of the creepiest films you will ever see. Something about this film's atmosphere just scared me so bad. It's like this unrelenting terror that just wouldn't let up throughout the whole film. And how could I talk about this film without mentioning the man himself, Max Schreck, who played Count Orlok? Holy heck, the way this guy played Nosferatu in the original was just so well done. He looked and acted like a dead person. The way he did it was just so creepy. And the tone of it it's dreadful, it's dark, it's scary. I highly recommend the original. And the remake is just as good as the original. Klaus Kinski does a very good job at playing Nosferatu, but he does it in a different kind of way. Instead of, making the creature evilly enjoying torturing people and stuff, instead he plays it off as someone who's just tired of everything. He doesn't want to be alive forever, but then again, he doesn't want to die. So he has no choice but to keep feeding on people. And he's also incredibly lonely too. There's one scene in this that I absolutely adore. And it's this scene right here that reminds me of the original. This remake has a lot of thought and care put into it, you can just tell. The way they use the shadows like the original did, the way every actor played their characters perfectly, it's just such a good remake. You can tell the director really loved the original. I highly recommend watching both of these because, both of them are so good, and they're very influential for their time. Number 1. King Kong. Oh my gosh, you guys cannot believe how much I adore the original and the remake. Both of these films are some of my most favorite films of all time. The original back in 1933 was directed by Marion C. Cooper, and he possibly created one of the most iconic films of all time. It's about a film director who brings people to this place called Skull Island in order to look for the legendary King Kong. The original just had this epic, big feel to it. It's like one of the biggest films you would ever see at the time. King Kong, played by himself, was possibly one of the scariest things I've ever saw when I was a kid. And you could tell the actress who played Anne in it was horrified. I would be too if I kept seeing this face all the time. But I absolutely adore how they portrayed Kong in the remake. Andy Serkis, who played King Kong in the remake, did a fantastic job at making you feel sympathy for him. He's definitely one of my most favorite actors recently, and I love this guy. The fact that Kong never speaks means he has to literally tell you everything through facial expressions. And Andy Serkis did a perfect job portraying emotions just through the motion capture. Well done, lad, well done. And the remake has an all-star cast too. Everyone did fantastic in this, and everything feels so much bigger and better, and the CGI has aged really, really well. It's definitely some of the best CGI you will ever see in a film. It's so good. All I can say is bravo to everyone who worked on this remake. Well everyone, those were my top 5 lists. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's my first time ever doing a countdown list. Thank you guys so much for watching and stay tuned. There will be more to come. Goodbye everyone!